And I don't think the labs are quite as challenging, maybe, or time consuming at least. We'll see. Yeah. And did y'all help Ahmet with the dependencies? Did you get that going?
I don't think we ever circled back to do that.
Well, let's take a couple minutes now because for a couple of the examples in this chapter, we're going to need date util, which is not in the standard library. So first of all, the biggest thing to do is locate requirements.txt. And I think you will find, let's see, what's the easiest way to do that? That in the main student file bundle, which contains the zip file with the actual student files, or maybe that's my, I have to say that when I put together a student course, then the folks at the home office kind of disassemble it and put it back together. So I'm not 100% certain where the requirements.txt ended up on the student end. Can anybody tell me where it is?
It's in the main folder under Advanced Python.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know why I don't see it on mine. I thought I was using the same folders, same files as you. Maybe I just can't read it. No, I don't see it. I don't know why it's not here. So anyway, the first, Ahmet, can you hear me? Are you ready to work on this? Okay. So the first thing is you need to open up a folder and then cd to your open up a command prompt and then cd to advanced Python. If you followed my suggestion and put it on your desktop, then one easy way to do that, oops, let me go over here. Oh, my virtual Windows is a little slow. There we go. You want to open up a prompt. I don't think you have an Anaconda prompt, so it'll just be a Windows prompt. Usually it's not this slow. This is annoying. I don't know what's going on with that. But the first thing is to get to your home folder, you can do that once you open up a prompt. And then if you followed my instructions, you can cd to desktop and you should see advanced Python there. And then you can cd into advanced Python. And even though I don't have it, you should have requirements.txt. The next thing to try is pip in your search path. So once you get to the advanced Python folder, and tell me to stop if I'm going too fast. I'm sorry, you already opened what? Are you talking about opening them in Windows Explorer? Right, that's fine, but that's not what we're doing for this. This is a separate well, it's related to Python, but this isn't a Python programming thing. So, well, if you want to do it this way, that's fine. What you can do is view a, is that going to work? No. How do we get to a, how do I get to a Python? Oh, I don't want a Python prompt. I want that. Okay.
You want a PowerShell, right?
Right. You can just open a terminal like this. You can just say view terminal.
No, it's in VS Code right there.
Yeah.
Just like what he's doing.
I'm backing up to working with VS Code. So in VS Code, now it's not going to be there. I need to go catch up with where I want. Whoa. Because this is virtual, it's confusing. It's confused. Well, there it is. Okay. Now the thing is, I don't have the requirements.txt, but we're going to pretend I do. So in that terminal, you want to just make sure you're in the advanced Python, wherever it is. Okay. Can you share your screen? That's probably going to be simpler. Because I just have to guess what your screen looks like. I'm going to stop sharing. And you should be able to go at the bottom of your Zoom window. There should be a button that says share. Yep. I see that you're doing something.
Yeah, your terminal's down there at the bottom.
Okay, here, oh, now I see it. Great.
Yeah.
I just had to maximize your screen, otherwise the type was too little for me to read. Okay, great. Now you're there. Okay, type dir. Yep. I don't see requirements.txt there.
Does he need to go up one? Wait,
Go up one. Yeah, that's a thing. Type cd space dot dot. I think that's what we're missing. CD space dot dot to go up one level. There you go. Now do a dir. Okay, one more. Sorry. No, do a dir. I'm just curious. Oh, you got way too much stuff there. But
yeah, that's not it.
yeah, it's not going to be in there. I don't know why requirements.txt is not in the top level of your student files, honestly. It's supposed to be. I'm going to work with my team or the team at Travera to make that happen. But for this, okay, next thing to try, because I know it's here, in the skill journeys. Have you gotten to this skill journeys page before? Okay. Well, we sent that out last week, I think. You should have a link to go to skill journeys. I tell you what, I'm going to make it even simpler. I'm gonna fix this real quick. I have a plan. Oops. Great. Now, copy. Okay, so it's there. Now I'm going to say get status, get commit minus M 3:30 Monday, get push. All right, I'm gonna come over here, reload that. And I'll copy it here. Okay, it's definitely there. I got some disconnect here. Why don't I see requirements.txt? Okay, now I've just totally lost my mind. 25.
Wait, is that inside the where is it? Okay, in the student work lab code download, is that where he might have been getting it from instead of from the
Yes,
welcome page? Because the welcome page is where Brian and I got the zip file from. So is it two different zip files?
there are. Well, there's a zip file. Oh, oh, I see.
We can't see whatever you're sharing.
Oh,
We're still on your VS Code, Amat.
yeah. I didn't realize I had, for some reason, requirements.txt in my get ignored. That was making me nuts. I'm not sure
Oh,
why it was in
that'll do it.
my get ignored, but it was. So now,
Hey, there's your requirements.txt.
oh, okay. Well, and I also managed to get a link to it, but let me go back to Amat's machine, wherever it is. Where is it?
He copied that file path right up there at the very top.
Yeah.
Yep. And then go back to VS Code and do a CD to that. Sorry, John, don't mean to step on your toes.
Oh, no, that's okay. So hit enter. Now type CD space and then paste. Great. dir just to be paranoid. Great. Now try typing pip space dash v. Let's make sure you got pip happening. Pip space dash capital V, not lowercase. Big V. V is in vanilla. And it's dash V is in victory. You have to put a dash in front of it. Dash in front, not behind. Before it. There you go. Try that.
Oh, no.
Okay. Let's see if Python works. Try Python space dash capital V. Okay. This isn't going to kill us. We just have to do something. Go to answers. Oh, you're already there. Go up and run the script. Just click on the button up at the top that'll let you run the script. You already have path files open. No, up at the top, the very top. Yep, that one. Just click that. Okay, see where you have the path to Python where it says C, users, AMAT, app data, local, blah, 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 in yellow? See where it's yellow? You want to copy that. Yeah. And by the way, in real life, Python is not this hard to use. This is just weird setup. No one would ever use it if they had to work this hard. So copy that. Now put that in your place there. Space dash lowercase m space pip pip space requirements.txt. You can hit tab to autocomplete. There you go. Now you can hit enter. What? Oh, sorry. Up arrow. We need a dash R after pip, a space dash R space after pip. No, pip install. I was so excited about getting everything in the right place, I forgot the important stuff. Pip install space dash R space, and now requirements.txt. Look at that go. So that's just going to run till it's installed everything you need, and now you're good to go. Life is good. Sorry that was so complicated. It, I'm not sure why it wasn't in your student files originally, and I don't know why the Windows install doesn't put Python and pip in your search path by default. It's not, well, it just doesn't do it. It's supposed to be according to, you know, what would make sense, but it doesn't happen. And I don't know why exactly. It's not that hard to change the path. I mean, you need permission, but anyway, we got it going. Okay, boy, I need to take a break now. No, just kidding. Yeah, it's downloading and installing a bunch of modules that we will need for some of the remaining chapters. And you might get some warnings, but should be okay. And if it's not, we will burn that bridge when we get to it. Let's move on, please, to chapter 3, dates and times. You can just let that roll. So on page 45, there are various Python modules to deal with dates and times, to store them and to modify them. In the standard library, we have the date time module, the time. Oh yeah, I need to go back, sorry. You can quit sharing. There I am. All right. So anyway, I'm not really showing anything important right this second. I'll switch back to that, but I'm still not showing anything important. Okay. So where am I? Oh yeah. There are 3 modules in the standard library that contain classes we can use with dates and times. There is another module that is not part of the standard library, but I highly recommend it, called Date Util, and it is included with the Anaconda distribution, but not with the standard library. And finally, there's yet another module called Arrow, which is a different approach to dates and times. Basically, both Date Util and Arrow are extensions or expansions of the 3 original modules to try to make things simpler. So, to get started, there are also at least 3, well, it says 5, I guess, is to be thorough, 5 ways to store dates and times. I'm not sharing?
No, you are. I see
Okay.
your stuff.
Good. I don't know if I can help you there. I'm pretty sure you stopped sharing. Make sure you click the stop sharing button.
Oh, wait. Okay, so there's multiple tabs up at the top now, Amat, of your Zoom meeting. If you look, there should be more than one tab. There should be a meeting tab, and then your tab, and then there's also John's tab. At least if your setup's like mine. Do you see the chat? Yeah, the chat. Okay, well, I just dropped a screen grab in there. You can see up at the very top that there's more than one tab for you to click on.
You might need to double click on Will's screen grab so you can actually read it. But basically, you need to choose whose screen you want to see by just clicking on my name in Zoom, basically. Groovy. All right. That's okay. No student left behind. No programmer left behind. That's my rule. So, 5 ways to store dates and times. The date time module has 3 classes: date, time, and date time. I hope there's a self-explanatory. Date has year, month, day. Time has hour, minute, second, and microsecond. And date time has both. Then the time module, which is different from the time module in date time. This is a standalone time module. It generally works with a Unix epoch time, which is the number of seconds and microseconds since 0 UTC on January 1st, 1970. It's a surprisingly useful way to store time, except it's not very human friendly. And some functions return a 9-element named tuple consisting of year, month, day, hour, minute, second, day of the week, day of the year, and a flag that says whether it's daylight savings time. Then date util builds on the classes and date time, as does arrow. So that's a little background. So for basic dates and times, we're going to use the date time module that has 4 classes. I said 3, but there's really a 4th one. The 4th one is time delta, which contains the difference between 2 of the others. So you can use time delta to see how much time elapsed between 2 timestamps. So let's look at the example called, in the examples folder, we have an example called date time X for date time examples. So what we're doing here is importing the datetime class and the date class from the datetime module. Then I'm creating an instance of date by calling date today. Date today returns a date object with year, month, day filled in for today. And if we just print it out, it is a nice compact string like this, but it is not a string object. It's a datetime.date object, and we can also extract the components of the date from it by doing date.month, date.year, date.day. So it is the 7th month, the 28th day, and the 2025th year. Likewise, datetime.now lets us grab the date and time together, and that gives us the year, month, day, hour, minute, second, and microsecond. Pretty straightforward, I think.
Yep.
We can also create a date time object by passing in the correct order, year, month, day, hour, minute, second, microseconds, or just some parts, but you always have to start with the year and move forward. And we can subtract one date from another to get the difference between those two dates to see the elapsed time. In this case, we can see delta.days is how many days there are between August 24th and June 13th of 2018. And it turns out there's 71 days. Delta is an object, and the text representation, the string representation of the object itself is this. However, you can also extract the components, the days and the seconds and the microseconds.
So did it automatically populate like 0 hours, 0 minutes? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Since you didn't put those in, is it just does it default to midnight or something?
that is exactly true.
Okay, gotcha.
Year, month, day are required. You can also put in hour, minute, second if you want. I hope you knew that you can hover over objects and get the documentation for them.
Oh yeah, that's been a lifesaver.
And this will work too when we get to the point where I'm showing you how to add doc strings to your own files and functions and classes. It'll work for your own just the same. Which is kind of awesome. On page 50, we can format dates and times. Which is, the example is called date time format, or date time FMT. And so here I'm creating a date time object with Bill Gates' birthday, October 28th, 55. He's getting to be an old guy. He's older than me, but not by much. But there he is. And we can print using the default format. But we can also use this method called stringf_time for string format time. And in using stringf_time, we can pass in a string that has placeholders or directives for various pieces and parts of the date and time. And I can't really memorize all these, so I have a chart, a table on page 52. So for instance, capital B is the full name of the month, percent lowercase d is the day of the month, capital Y is the 4-digit year, and so forth. Percent capital I is the hour on the 12-hour clock. I mean, on the 12-hour clock as opposed to the 24 clock. Percent H is the 24-hour clock, and then the minute, and then P is replaced with either AM or PM as appropriate. And here we can just do month, day, year, or day, short version of the month, long version of the year, or long version of the year, short version of the month, and the date. So using that string F time, we can format the date and time any way we like. Now, parsing date and time strings, if you're just using the built-in tools, in my opinion, is kind of a pain in the neck. And I'll show you why. If we look at date time parse, if I want to parse this date out of my text, either it's from a file or a database entry, or I got it from the network, it's on a web page, whatever. If I want to parse that text into an actual date object or date time object, I have to create a parse template using those same directives as string F time that exactly matches the date I want. So if you have a file that has the date entered in some variant ways, you're going to have to somehow use try except or something to try a whole bunch of templates until you get the one that works. It's for the birds as far as I'm concerned, unless you have very regular input data that you know is in a certain format and isn't going to change. In that case, this isn't bad because you just do the template and it just works. But even at a slight cost in time, I much prefer to use dateutil. Dateutil is not in the standard library, as I said. I don't know why I had a blank line there. But anyway, dateutil has to be downloaded and installed with pip. And one of the things, it provides many things, but one of the things it provides is a parser module. Or maybe it's a parser class. So then I have a whole list of date strings of various sorts. Most of them are valid, a few are not valid. For instance, February 29th, 2021 is not valid because only even every 4 years we have leap year, not every year, so line 10 is invalid. And febrifuge, not a valid month name, and ABC, also not a valid month name. And there's a few other that are invalid. So then all I have to do is for each date string that I want to parse, I just call parser.parse. We don't need a template, and it's a really smart parser, which means this is a little slower than using templates, but unless you're doing billions of dates, you're probably not going to mind, because you don't have to worry about tediously writing a parser that exactly matches your text. This will just use regular expressions to find out what it is and do the right thing. If it can't parse it, if it's an invalid date for one reason or another, then it raises a value error, which you can catch with a try except block. So as you can see, February 29th is out of range for the year 2021, and febrifuge and ABC are invalid month names. And if I had put in a September 31, that also would be invalid. So I really like it that you don't have to do any work, that parser.parse from dateutil will just do the right thing. Do any of you need to do date parsing as part of your work? Does it come up?
Not a ton, honestly. Like the main thing that I do with it is I'm putting timestamps on files that get created and using timestamps to see how long a process is running. That's pretty much the
Sure,
most that I go into it.
absolutely.
But with some of the SQL stuff that I've been doing here recently, I might it might become more prevalent.
Okay, cool. Now, on page 59, I said there were 5 potential different formats for storing dates and times. You may need to convert one to the other. For instance, if you use the get mtime to get the timestamp of a file, that comes in as Unix epoch time. How do we get it to an actual date time object? Well, you saw that we use datetime.from timestamp. But who knows which format you're going to have to convert to or from, and it's a little tricky. So again, to help you and to help me, I made a table on page 60 that says how to go from a particular format to another format. So for instance, if I wanted to go from a timestamp, meaning a Unix timestamp number of seconds thing, to a date, I would do datetime from timestamp dot date. Or if I wanted to go from a date time to a time tuple, I could do datetime.time tuple. Some of them are simple, some of them you have to do a little more work. And some things don't make sense. You can't really go from time to something that has a date in it because there's no way to guess what the date is from that time. So you can't convert from a time to one of the other formats. On page 64, if you need to work with dates and times and you need to include time zone information, I recommend you use dateutil because it supports it out of the box, just like parsing out of the box. If you use the built-in tools, you can, in theory, support time zones, but it's a pain in the neck. So let's look at the example called dateutil time zones. So first of all, I have a couple of strings, and this is a pretty normal way of specifying the time offset from Greenwich Mean Time, or UCT. So here is a time in Eastern Daylight Time and a time in Pacific Daylight Time. Then we can call the dateutil parser, and it will understand what the -04 means and the -07. And when I do the difference, without time zones, the difference would be about 2 hours and 28 minutes or 38 minutes. But with the time zone difference of 3 hours, the difference between those two timestamps is 5 hours and 38 minutes roughly. So this is just showing you that the date util parser will correctly parse time zone information when it's in this sort of format with the minus or plus time. But wait, there's more. Let's also look at date parsing TZ. So even with date util, there's a little work to do. First of all, I'm going to create a dictionary of time zone information for the time zones I'm interested in. So India time, London time, or Sydney, Australia time, US Eastern, US Central, and US Pacific, just for fun. So I'm going to call get TZ, and so I'm making a dictionary where the key is the time zone name, and the value is time zone information that has all of the details such as what day daylight savings time starts and how far it is from UCT and so forth. Then here I have some strings, and they're all 5 a.m. April 2nd, 2021. But now when I call parse with my date string, if I pass in this dictionary of time zone information, it will look up the time zone in that dictionary so it can calculate the correct time using those time zone strings. I know this is a little convoluted, but it works great. And it comes back with the correct time. And as you can see on the right, it adds the appropriate time zone differential, plus 0.5, plus 11, minus 0.4, etc., for that time zone. So right now, India time, I think, is about 10 hours off of us, 10 or 11. And the last part of this is generating text calendars, either as plain text or as HTML. These are things I have never ever used, but when I was writing this chapter, it occurred to me that somebody somewhere might want to be able to generate a text calendar. I might be wrong, but it's very simple. We can import text calendar from the calendar module. This is part of the standard library. Then we can create an instance of the text calendar class. And then we can call text calendar format month, format year. I think there's a format week, and pass it the year and month you want, and it will generate the calendar. As I said, I'm not sure where I would use this exactly, but it's kind of nice to know. And the second one is the same idea, except we're going to create an HTML calendar. And I'm going to make the file name. I'm going to write the calendar out to a file. And then this is kind of a fun thing. I don't know if you know Python has this. This is in the standard library. There's a web browser module. And you can just say web browser.open with any URL, and it will open that URL with your default browser, or you can specify the browser you want. So this is going to generate the text, the HTML text of the calendar. Then it's going to open a browser with the information. Now, of course, you can specify CSS data to make it a little bit prettier. I didn't, so it's kind of ugly and smushed together. But we can add some white space between the rows and columns, and we can set some classes on the rows and columns, and then write a little CSS to make this a lot prettier. I guess I should do that sometime.
I didn't realize that doing the web browser deal was as easy as that. So that's handy information to have.
Yeah. And you can format, like I say, a month or a year. I think you can format a week, but don't hold me to it. But definitely you can format a particular year or a particular month. All right. So it's 3:03. And today we're going to 6 p.m. We're going to 6 p.m. my time, so we're going to 5 p.m. your time, just making sure I don't screw that up. So we have a couple of exercises for this chapter. And why don't we do those till 3:30 your time? In the meantime, I will be here to help, unless I have to quickly do something I can't delegate. '72, and take a look at the chat, and all will be revealed. But it's page 72. And the exercises are always at the end of whatever chapter they're for. I don't hide them.